Orlando, Florida. A sunny day, blue skies, normal. But something was wrong. A little girl, gone. Missing. Her name, Caylee. Her mother, silent, 31 days. A web of lies, a mother's deceit, the truth hidden. Where was Caylee? June 16, 2008. A toddler's laughter. Innocence personified. Caylee Anthony, 2 years old, last seen with her mother. Casey, a mother's love or a sinister secret? The days turned into weeks. Caylee was gone. July 15th, 2008, 31 days, silence, a grandmother's plea. My granddaughter is missing. Casey's story, a nanny, a lie, the police uncertain, suspicions grew. Where was Caylee? Section 3, disturbing discoveries. Casey's car, the trunk, a foul odour. The stench of death lingers, a chilling clue in the trunk of Casey's car. The smell of death, decomposition, a child's body, the police. Searching, evidence mounting, every fibre, every trace scrutinised for answers. Caylee Anthony, a person of interest. Section 4. The investigation intensifies. August 2008. The search expands. Woods, lakes, desperation, hope dwindles with each passing day as the search for Caylee continues. The media frenzy. A nation watches. Casey's behaviour, partying, smiling. Casey's demeanour, a mother in mourning or a master manipulator. No remorse, the public outraged. Section 5. A gruesome find. December 11th, 2008, a grim discovery. The search ends, but the nightmare continues. A skeletal remains, a child's skull. Duct tape, Caylee, the nation mourns, anger, sadness, justice for Caylee. A community united in grief demanding justice for Caylee. Caylee Anthony charged with murder. May 2011. Inside the courtroom, the weight of justice hangs heavy. The trial begins. Caylee Anthony, facing justice, a nation watching, the prosecution determined to hold Caylee accountable. The charge, murder, the evidence, circumstantial. The world waited for answers. A mother's betrayal, a planned murder, the motive. Freedom, Caylee, a life tragically cut short, a future stolen. Caylee, an obstacle, Casey's desire to party, to date, to live free. The prosecution argued Caylee was suffocated by her own mother. The murder weapon, duct tape, a mother's love replaced by hate. The prosecution revealed Casey's internet searches. Before Caylee's disappearance, how to make chloroform, neck-breaking, disturbing queries, a sinister plan, the defense argued. The searches, made by the family's computer, not specifically Caylee, but the prosecution maintained their stance. The digital footprint pointed to Caylee. A chilling piece of evidence, the car, the trunk, the smell. Forensic experts testified, the odour, human decomposition. Caylee's body had been in the trunk. The defense countered. The smell was not conclusive. It could be from garbage. The jury was left to weigh the evidence. The smell of death lingered in the courtroom. Caylee's behaviour, cold, calculated. She partied, she went shopping while her daughter was missing. The prosecution argued. A guilty conscience would have shown Caylee's lies to police, to family, were further proof of her guilt. The prosecution rested. Their case built on circumstantial evidence and a mother's deceit. The defense was ready to argue. Their truth, their client, not a murderer but a victim, a mother wrongfully accused. Their strategy was to shift the narrative. Cast doubt on the prosecution's case, paint Caylee as a loving mother. a victim of circumstance. The defense promised to reveal the truth, a truth hidden by lies and misunderstandings. Section 2. A family secret. The defense alleged Caylee's death was not murder, but an accident, a drowning, covered up by a family living in fear. The defense claimed Casey's father, George Anthony, abused Casey from a young age. This abuse created a culture of silence, fear, and deception. The defense painted a picture of a dysfunctional family harboring dark secrets. Section 3. The accidental drowning. According to the defense, on the morning of Caylee's disappearance, the toddler had been in the family pool with her grandfather, George Anthony. Caylee fell into the pool and drowned. Panicked and fearing repercussions, George Anthony forced Casey to help him cover up the accident. The defense argued this explained the lack of reaction from Casey. Section 4. Planting doubt. In the world of criminal justice, the concept of reasonable doubt is a powerful tool. It can mean the difference between a conviction and an acquittal. This section delves into how the defense team meticulously worked to plant seeds of doubt in the minds of the jurors. The defense attacked the prosecution's case point by point. The internet searches? They argued that the searches for terms like chloroform and neck-breaking were not conducted by Caylee Anthony, but rather by her father, George Anthony. They presented evidence suggesting that George had access to the computer during the times these searches were made. The defense argued they were made by George Anthony, not Caylee. They painted a picture of a household where multiple people had access to the same computer, making it difficult to pinpoint who exactly conducted the searches. This ambiguity was crucial in creating doubt. The smell in the trunk? The prosecution claimed it was the unmistakable odor of human decomposition, suggesting that it was the body of Casey's daughter, Caylee. However, the defense countered this by bringing in experts who testified that the smell could have been caused by garbage or other decomposing organic matter. The defense claimed it could have been from garbage or other decomposing matter, not necessarily a child's body. They showed that the trunk contained trash bags with food waste, which could produce a similar odor. This alternative explanation was aimed at weakening the prosecution's argument. The defense worked tirelessly to plant doubt in the minds of the jurors. They scrutinized every piece of evidence, every testimony, and every argument presented by the prosecution. Their goal was to create a narrative where the jurors could not be certain of Casey's guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. By highlighting inconsistencies and presenting alternative explanations, they aimed to make the jurors question the prosecution's case at every turn. This strategy of planting doubt is a cornerstone of criminal defense, and in this case, it was executed with meticulous precision. The defense argued Casey's silence, her lies, her behavior, all stemmed from the trauma of her abuse and the shock of Caylee's death. They painted Caylee as a victim of her father's abuse and a system that misunderstood her. The defense rested, leaving the jury with a haunting question. Was Caylee Anthony a cold-blooded killer or a victim herself? From the moment Caylee was reported missing, the media was relentless. Cable news, websites, newspapers all covered the story obsessively. The public consumed every detail. Caylee's story became a national obsession. But the constant coverage came at a cost. It was impossible for Caylee to receive a fair trial when the entire nation had already judged her. The media often presented Caylee Anthony in a negative light. They highlighted her partying, her lies, her seeming lack of remorse. Caylee was labeled the most hated woman in America. The public, bombarded with negative images and speculation, formed a guilty verdict long before the trial began. Section 3. A nation divided. The media coverage not only impacted public opinion, but it also influenced the jury pool. It was extremely difficult to find jurors who had not already formed an opinion about the case. The trial itself became a media circus. Cameras captured every moment, every tear, every glare. The public watched as the drama unfolded in real time. When the verdict came, not guilty, the nation was shocked. Many felt justice had not been served. They believed the media coverage had swayed the jury. The Caylee Anthony trial remains a cautionary tale about the power of the media. July 5, 2011. A hush fell over the courtroom. The verdict, not guilty, Caylee Anthony acquitted of murder. The reaction immediate and visceral, the nation divided. Some cheered, others wept. How could this be? The evidence, the lies, it didn't make sense. But the jury had spoken. Caylee Anthony was free. But freedom did not erase the questions, the doubts. Even as the courtroom doors closed and the gavel fell, the echoes of uncertainty lingered in the air. The public, the media, and even those closest to the case were left grappling with the same haunting questions. The truth still eluded them. Despite countless hours of investigation, numerous interviews, and an exhaustive search for evidence, clarity remained just out of reach. The fog of mystery seemed to grow thicker with each passing day, obscuring the reality of what truly transpired. What really happened to Caylee Anthony? The innocent face on the missing child poster became a symbol of a nation's collective heartbreak. The story captivated millions, drawing them into a web of speculation and sorrow. Every newscast, every headline brought with it a fresh wave of questions and theories. Why did Caylee lie to the police about her daughter's whereabouts? Her inconsistent statements and erratic behavior only deepened the mystery. Was she protecting someone, or was there a darker motive behind her deception? The interrogation room became a stage for a drama that no one could fully understand. Was it a mother's guilt, or something more sinister? The courtroom scenes were filled with emotion as the world watched a mother on trial. Tears, anger, and confusion painted a complex picture of a family in turmoil. The line between victim and perpetrator blurred, leaving everyone to wonder about the true nature of Caylee's actions. The Caylee Anthony case became a study in ambiguity. Legal experts, psychologists, and armchair detectives all weighed in, but definitive answers remained elusive. The case highlighted the limitations of the justice system, where facts and emotions often collide, creating a murky landscape of doubt and suspicion. A reminder that justice is not always black and white. The scales of justice tipped back and forth, reflecting the complexities of human nature and the challenges of uncovering the truth. The judge's gavel may have signaled the end of the trial, but for many, the search for answers had only just begun. Sometimes it's shrouded in shades of grey. The grey clouds in the sky mirrored the uncertainty that hung over the case. As people walked through the fog of unanswered questions, they were reminded that some truths are not easily uncovered. The story of Caylee Anthony remains a poignant example of how, in the quest for justice, we often find more questions than answers. The Caylee Anthony trial faded from headlines, but its impact lingered. It was a case that gripped the nation, a story that seemed to have all the elements of a dramatic thriller. A young mother accused of the unthinkable, the death of her own child, and a courtroom drama that played out on live television. The trial was not just about the guilt or innocence of Caylee Anthony, it was about the very fabric of our society and how we perceive justice. It sparked a national conversation about the media, about justice, about our own fascination with true crime. People gathered in coffee shops, in living rooms, and around office water coolers to discuss the latest developments. News anchors debated the evidence, the legal strategies, and the emotional testimonies. The trial became a mirror reflecting our collective psyche. showing us how deeply we are drawn to stories of crime and punishment. The trial exposed the flaws in our justice system and the power of public opinion. Protesters gathered outside the courthouse, demanding justice for Caylee Anthony, the young victim. Inside, the judge delivered a verdict that shocked many. Public opinion polls showed a nation divided, with some believing in Caylee's innocence and others convinced of her guilt. The case highlighted how our justice system can be swayed by the court of public opinion, where emotions often run high and facts can become secondary. It showed how easily we can be influenced by emotion, by speculation, by the 24/7 news cycle. News anchors delivered breaking news with a sense of urgency, often speculating on the outcome before all the facts were known. People reacted emotionally to each new piece of information, their opinions shifting with each news cycle. Journalists worked tirelessly to uncover new angles, new stories, and new controversies, feeding a public hungry for more. The Caylee Anthony trial was a tragedy for everyone involved, but it was also a wake-up call. Memorials for Caylee Anthony were held, with people mourning the loss of a young life. Vigils were organized, and the community came together to grieve. The courtroom sketches of Caylee Anthony became iconic, symbols of a trial that captivated the nation. But beyond the tragedy, the trial served as a reminder of the complexities of justice and the challenges of finding the truth. A reminder that truth is often elusive and justice can be a slippery slope. The scales of justice symbolize the delicate balance that must be maintained, a balance that is often difficult to achieve. The judge's gavel represents the authority of the court, but also the weight of the decisions that must be made. The blurred image of the courtroom with the word justice in focus serves as a metaphor for the often murky and complex nature of legal proceedings. The Caylee Anthony trial will be remembered not just for its outcome, but for the broader questions it raised about our society, our media, and our justice system.